Welcome to Film Talk Weekly Radio. This is your guest host, Castle Searcy, with the Santa Fe International Film Festival. Today, we are here with Kaylee and Richard Williamson from Bentonville, Arkansas. They are a filmmaking duo, and they are part of Second Street Studio, Onyx Coffee Lab. What else? You have your own production company, but you're
Yeah,
putting it together, putting the name together.
for sure. So it really started out that we worked separately before we met each other. And so we work in freelance, and
You're a
sometimes that looks like,
couple, you're married.
yes,
Yes.
Yeah.
right. Sometimes that means that we're working on commercials, sometimes it's feature films. It's a lot of variety here. So it changes every day. And with that, we just kind of ebb and flow on if it's together, if it's separate, if it's with the studio. So yeah, it's an adventure.
So tell us each, usually I don't have two guests on. Actually, I did last time, but um, give me each like your origin story, like where you grew up, your schooling, up until the point where you met.
Um, I am one of the few people who actually was born in Bentonville, because three-fourths of Bentonville is not from here originally, which is so great. I love our city and love the diversity in our city. But yeah, I grew up in Bentonville and moved to California for a little bit. And that's, of course, kind of when I started falling in love with filmmaking because I was so near Hollywood and
It's just everywhere around you.
yeah, it's everywhere.
How long were
So
you there?
I was there for 3 years when I was in maybe middle school. My dad had moved us out there for work, and I, at the time, I don't think I really appreciated California because I was young and didn't get to experience it like someone in their 20s would, getting to go to all the places there. But I had a really great time sometimes there, just being able to go to LA and um, we would drive every time we would drive up to LA, which was about a 7 hour drive. I'd always make them drive by the backlot studios and was just so excited about that and loved getting to take tons of photos there. And I still have great memories and great photos from California. But yeah, then moved back to Bentonville when my dad moved back for work and just really fell in love with Bentonville even more than I had when I first lived here, because from when I moved to California to when I moved back, Walmart had kind of taken over and grown Bentonville to what it is now.
Completely different city than
Yeah.
what you left. Yeah.
And with that, the film community had grown exponentially. When I came back, there was a new film studio here, and that's kind of where I got my start in filmmaking. Shout out to Farm Studios in Hiawassee.
What is it?
They're called Farm Studios. One of my friends, Zach Heald, runs it. But it's just a big soundstage in Arkansas. It's one of the kind of first big ones. And Kaylee also used to work at a studio, but I'll let her talk more about that. And just kind of interned for them in high school a little bit and worked on some productions. And from that, was able to jump to freelancing.
And the night program too.
Yeah. Had a great film program here called Ignite. And we just got to, I mean, as much as I love the program, like the biggest part of it for me was being able to, I got to leave high school like for half of the day and just go work on film sets. So I tell people I really
Awesome.
didn't have yeah, I didn't have a senior year at high school. I just was working all the time. I almost like, in all honesty, I almost just failed senior year because I was never there,
Mhm.
which was totally fine with me. I was telling my parents, I'm like, I'm working on film sets every day. Like, why do I need to, why do I need a high school degree? And
And the equipment you guys had
yeah,
access to
yeah.
is
Um,
really,
yeah, that program is a benefit of living in Bentonville and the Waltons being such a big deal here is they have a lot of money to go around, and Ignite was funded by them, so we got to play with all the really expensive cameras that most high schools do not get access to.
So this was a program through high school?
Yeah, so it's like a college level course. They have some different ones, so it's like I was in the filmmaking or cinematography course, and then
it's
they
like a
have
lot of
some,
trade program
yeah,
kind of
they have
things.
photography and they have medical and cooking and all these different programs. And it's pretty much just you leave high school for half of the day and go to these programs and you get a college credit for it. really great program, and we still I still talk to my teacher from there, and we get students into the studio and try and support that program because it impacted me so much, and is probably the only reason why I was able to freelance right out of high school. I didn't end up going to college after high school just because I was really ready to go out into the world and start making stuff. I'm kind of the person, like Kaylee knows, I'll be sitting at home and watch a Netflix documentary that I really like, and I'm like, I just want to go out and shoot now. Like,
Right.
I just hate being
Or studying
like
the
cooped up
different
in that.
lenses.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of the short version of how I got started, kind of through farm studios and just freelancing a lot and working. And of course, that had its downtimes of not working for almost a year, kind of during COVID, and then getting to kind of pick back up and doing what I love now. And yeah, that's kind of short version, but
And so you do this full time now? This is your only job?
yeah. We've both been doing it full time for uh
4 or 5
three
years.
yeah 3 years. Even when Kaylee was in college, she was doing uh working on film sets and stuff, and I'll let her talk more about that. But um it's what we pour all our hearts and
Yeah.
souls into. I mean, we're out working more than we're at home, I feel like.
And it's our dream.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like, this is our one wild life. And if this is what we want, like, we're gonna go after that fearlessly. And we don't want to, spend time building up things that aren't moving towards that goal. So, yeah.
That's awesome. It is the dream, I think, to be making it, like to make a living doing what you love.
Yeah,
Mhm.
You know, like
sure.
that's
I
like,
mean, it's not even a job to us anymore.
yeah.
yeah, I know. Like once you've kind of tasted that, it's hard to go back to doing something just for money or, like that's not on the path. Yeah.
For sure. And I know we've had seasons of that too, of like high seasons where, man, this is great. Like, I feel like I'm living out my purpose, like
Hmm.
completely where I'm supposed to be. And then there's other seasons, like how life is, where like right now we're about to buy a house, and so that means sometimes like taking on other projects. And we have felt that range so much of like, man, I've tasted that,
Yeah.
the high of it, and then having to take maybe more like event jobs or things that are like a little further from that dream, still in the same world, still in the same skill set,
Hmm.
but just further out from where I'm supposed to be, kind of thing.
Yeah.
That it's
Hmm.
like, I can't go back to this, like
Yeah.
I won't. But yeah.
But a little bit, it's okay. I think it's okay a little bit. I do the same thing. Like I do projects that I don't love, but they're still in my world.
And sometimes those like get you closer to these, like they fund them, or
Yeah.
so we're always grateful for that.
So tell us about you, Kaylee. I'm gonna
Yeah.
disclose that Kaylee, I think, is my niece-in-law or my step-niece, or we're
Yes.
related somehow. I've known.
We are family.
Had the same last names.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Kaylee Searcy Williamson.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what we are, but your
Hey,
dad
I'm
is
for
my
it. You name it.
cousin. Yeah. So,
I love
um,
it.
but it sounds like you took the more traditional route, like going to film school.
Yeah,
And so tell us where you grew up, how you got started.
for sure. So I'm actually from Harrison, Arkansas. And that is a challenge in of itself. But something that I've like seen some beautiful redemption on. But I was very eager to move away. And so I started coming around Northwest Arkansas, just in proximity of like, okay, I love Arkansas, but this is kind of where things are happening. I went to like some summer camps here. And that was really like my first taste of even the slightest like professionalism with video. So I saw like the camp videographers making just recaps of the weeks for that, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I've never seen a camera like this. It's so cool to see what they make. Like we cherish this. Like I felt the impact of what they were doing And so like I was just hanging around them all the time, asking them all the questions. And then just even when I was a kid, like running around with a camcorder, running around with cameras, taking pictures of anything, everything. We grew up in a really interesting time of like, I still remember taking film photos as a kid. You know, I still remember the camcorder. But then by the time I was like in 5th grade or so, like that moved to an iPhone. And so
Mhm.
really like a fun time to be alive that we got a taste of each of those. And we still have a huge heart for film photography, I think, because of that. But anyway, so a long history just of love for this craft that I've always seen as a hobby, or like capturing memories on vacation, you know, things like that.
Mhm.
And then going to this camp, just getting that first glimpse of like, this is someone's job. Like they're being paid for this and they love it. And I'm feeling the impact of it. So I just really like dug in with them, figured out that like people even go to college for film, and that the movies we watch and the commercials we see come from somewhere and they come from people. And oh my gosh, that's in my state, you know? So that just really opened up the world for me. And that was kind of my epiphany of, you know, this has been such a natural fit for so long. Even before I knew that it was, this is what I've always just been drawn to and come back to. So I asked them a lot of questions, figured out that they went to a college in Siloam Springs called John Brown University. It's a private Christian college that is one of the few film programs in Arkansas. Really great one. So I was like, okay, I'm all in. Like, this is my path out of Harrison. This is my path to living like a life that I love, because that's something that I really hadn't seen a lot in my hometown. Like, I had seen just a lot of um, you know, making it, this is what we have to do. And I was so committed to like, this will not be the life that I live. So I was like, this is my ticket. So I went to JBU and just went all in on that program, met a lot of great people. I knew that it was a lot of money and that, um, you know, that this was my chance. So I gave it everything that I had, went all in, met all the people, did all the networking, tried to work on every set that I could. And even before I like went off to college, I was in high school driving up to JBU to like work on film sets there and meet those people. So by the time that I was a freshman, I was like ready to go and had like a lot of contacts there, and was really integrated. And so I started just meeting people and working on film sets here, worked on a feature film whenever I was like a senior in high school, that's on Amazon Prime. It's called Max Winslow. Um, and just really got on everything that I could. And so, yeah, at JBU, I started working for a film studio called Rock Hill Studios as just an intern in the summer, kind of during COVID. Really connected there, really dug in, found just a lot of like business of cinema kind of information. JB was great for me in the like technicality, hands-on cameras that I had never had before. But then working in a studio was seeing like that business connection and how that translates to like the real world. And through this, like I've really, I mean, I already loved Arkansas, but I fell in love with the film community in Arkansas. We are a young film community. And sometimes I think that can have its own connotations of, you know, like, oh, they're fresh, they're hillbillies, whatever. But, you know, it's a lot of really great, there's a lot of great professionals that work here, and we're a family. And it's been a real gift to be kind of on that early journey of finding our way in the community and being leaders in that community and trying to uplift people. I'm sure, as you know, like uh, working in film can be really rough. Can be around a lot of rough people, and you know,
Yeah.
a lot of people maybe who do it because they don't want to, or it's just long days. Like it's 12-hour days lifting a lot of weight,
Mhm.
and
You have to like it. You have to love it.
yeah, be really sharp. So I fell in love with that, and we've just really tried to uplift people in it.
It sounds like there's a lot of opportunity in a small community as well, which I think, like New Mexico is still, it's, you know, none of us are Hollywood, so it's like these smaller burgeoning communities are really like tight knit and interesting, and seems like from who I talked to, there's a lot more opportunity. We're going to take a quick break. And we're back with Kaylee and Richard Williamson in Bentonville, Arkansas, with Second Street Studio. And we were talking about your origin stories, how you both came
Yeah.
up. Now I want to know at what point did you meet and what have you been up to since then?
Yeah, for sure. So we were on kind of our separate paths, just really like digging into the industry and working hard with that. And then let's see, in 2020, we were set to work on a feature film together. And I like went through the call sheet just getting excited for the set. We're like, oh my gosh, like here's all my buddies, like this is gonna be a great time, all of that. And then I come down to a name that I'm like, Richard? Like, I don't know a Richard, like some old guy, like gonna be working on it. Okay, whatever, hopefully he'll be fine. And so I actually like find him on social media, and in very like boy form, he has no pictures of himself on Instagram. And I am very present on Instagram, so I was like, oh my gosh, like we have a creeper on our hands or something. So I follow him. I end up posting like some pictures of me like with a steady cam, like balancing and stuff, and he replies to it and he's like, oh, that's cool, like asking questions about the equipment. I'm just very brief and I'm like, great, yeah, look forward to meeting you. Bye. So fast forward, I get invited to like a film networking mixer by some of our friends that have a production company called The Breedloves, and I'm like getting ready to go to it and just sending out invites to everyone I know in the community, wanting that to be a great opportunity to meet people. Richard just was kind of like on my list with that, so I sent it to him. Get there wearing my blazer, got the cards, work in the room, just seeing a lot of people I know, kind of make the rounds, make it to like my last circle of people to talk to. And I'm like, oh, good to see you. What's your name? And he's like, oh, I'm Richard. And I'm like, oh, you're Richard.
Not old, not creepy. I assume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was pleasantly surprised and I was like, he's kind of cute. So I handed my card and I'm like, well, you're the only person I don't know in this room. We need to get coffee sometime. And we ended up going to coffee. And how was that for you?
Yeah, it was the most awkward coffee date,
It was.
coffee hangout.
It's
Yeah.
true. I didn't know if I was
thought
gonna see him again.
I thought I was never gonna see her again.
What's like how was it awkward? Can you like recreate it? Like,
Yeah. I mean, I'm a big talker and like I love people, and so I'm just like, I have to get to know you, and I'm just asking him a lot of questions, and I think it kind of turned more into like a film interview, like a work interview. Like I want to hear everything that you do, and I think that he had probably never met a woman like me.
I was
So,
very introverted at the time too.
I
So
yeah.
can see like even though you both are family, like I don't know you very well. I've seen you at a few family
yeah,
events and on Instagram, but I see why you work now already. Like the extrovert and the introvert, and then you have
Yeah,
a lot in common also.
for
mhm.
sure.
That's why she directs and talks to people, and I sit behind the camera and don't talk to
Oh,
anyone.
that's
Yes.
perfect. I do know lots of couples that are in film together. I interviewed one part of a couple recently, a Cuban filmmaker who works with her husband, and they came from Cuba to Denver. So it seems like, and I know another person I interviewed works with her husband in film. So it seems to be a good fit, or it can be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
for me, like I almost kind of went in that I was like, I think I have to marry someone in film or have a partner in
They
film.
won't understand.
Yeah, and it's like 12-hour days. Like, are you in for this? So I gave him another chance, and then we just really hit it off, and
Yeah.
we've been a team
Second date was a
since.
lot better.
It's
Okay.
true.
And then, so you were working together on this project and starting to date.
So that feature film actually got canceled.
Because of COVID happening, but
Oh,
Yeah.
mhm.
And was supposed to pick back up at some point, but never ended up happening. So yeah,
Yeah.
kind of left us to have to meet some other way.
So we started like dating during COVID, and I think that really like expedited our relationship, just being kind of in the thick of it.
Were you in a pod together?
Kind of like we both got COVID. And I was like, I can't like take care of myself right now. I can't like go back to my 80-year-old grandparents. Like, what am I gonna do? And I'm like, hey, like we kind of just met each other, but like you wanna quarantine together?
Yeah.
So that was love. Um, So that definitely happened, an expedited relationship, but then we started working on other projects together and just kind of figuring out what our working relationship was like.
Yeah.
And it's been good.
Yeah, we've worked when we started working together, we were both working as assistant camera
Mhm.
on film sets, and that was great. But I think now her directing and me DPing is just a lot better.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I mean, kind of in a joking manner earlier, but in truth, like, she is the extrovert and really knows how to talk to people and get emotion out of them for these scenes. And I, like, more than anyone, feel like I'm such a technical person.
Yeah, you definitely are.
I mean, I will sit in bed and like just scroll through camera gear that we need to rent for a shoot, and we'll just take hours doing that. And she's kind of the like,
I
oh,
need to be with people.
here's what you need to wear, yeah, and
Yeah,
all that.
Mhm.
for sure. But we did love our time ACing together. That was
Yeah,
a
that was
real
great.
gift too. I think that helped us figure out like what a working relationship would be like and how to trust each other on a set making decisions.
So you had the same role before, assistant camera, like that was what?
Yeah,
Yes.
and there's for anyone who doesn't know much about the kind of higher level productions, there's a first assistant camera and then a second assistant camera. The first AC will usually pull focus for the camera operator and be right next to the camera operator, and then the second AC will be the person to bring lenses to the first AC or bring
And
new
slate,
batteries and use
make
the
marks.
slate
Yeah.
clapperboard and do all that kind of stuff. So that was interesting because I was usually first ACing and she was second ACing. So it in the film, like kind of in the production, I would be her superior in that. But now with her directing, it's switched roles because she's directing everything. So honestly, I think her directing works a lot better, and kind of being over everything, because I'm decent at managing people, but I think she's
You're good at it, but
yeah,
your gifting
yeah,
is stronger with
yeah.
technicality. Yeah.
I mean, when I'm shooting, I don't want to worry about someone being late to set or what the actors need to wear or anything like that,
Mhm.
because I'm so laser focused on, oh, this light needs to go here.
And I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
I think the roles now just work really well.
Yeah.
And again, it was fun ACing together, but these are just our giftings and
Yeah,
where
it's
we
a
want to
fit.
be. So
So tell me about some projects that when you started after COVID, you started doing projects together. Like, were you intentionally trying to do projects together at that point, or did it just happen that way?
Yeah, I think like a lot of it was organic. Just that like we're very like integrated in the community. Like people knew that we were strong suited in these things. And so I know one of them that early on that we AC together was like a HGTV commercial for like Disney Cruise Lines. Like we worked as ACs on that and it was really fun. And we've done a lot of Walmart commercials together, just being in Bentonville, which we love. We're really grateful for how the Waltons invest in our community. And so, awesome to work for them and stuff. And then let's see, we've done some Slim Chicken stuff together.
What's that?
yeah, it's just a chicken fast food drive-through chain, really good. Highly recommend it.
Yeah, it's like popular in the South. So
But yeah, we did a lot of smaller kind of stuff like that together. And then I feel like the kind of bigger stuff that we worked on has been separate, because usually if someone's hiring a cinematographer, they already have a director,
right.
or if someone's hiring a director, they already have producers and like all the other crew. So we usually don't work together. The times when we work together as director and cinematographer are usually commercials that we produce, or commercials
Things with
that,
Onyx or with the
friends know we want to
studio.
work
Yeah.
together on. But yeah, we enjoy working together on a lot of those smaller things too. But
For sure. We had clients like Uber Freight. That's been really neat. And I'm producing a movie in the next year. And so that's been kind of a wild ride. But
Yeah.
Can you talk about that?
So it's based on an Arkansas book, which is really neat. Like a best-selling Amazon author. I think that's probably all I can say at this point, but
Okay.
I will keep you posted with updates.
Okay.
Very excited.
I think it's really interesting you're based in the Northwest Arkansas community. I don't think anyone really thinks of it as a place where film is happening.
Hmm.
But it kind of makes sense to me, I guess. Like I've known that Walmart's there. I know they contribute a lot to the community and the arts. And I think I have people that work with Walmart or are vendors of Walmart, and I know like
Hmm.
their vendors need to have an office and
Yeah, and I mean, the saying here is like you either work for Walmart or you know someone who works for
Yeah,
Walmart. Like,
they're your family, your mate, and whatever. It's so true.
yeah, so I can imagine from my marketing hat that that creates a lot of opportunity for film, for
mhm.
video, for even, for promotion, for instructional, like
Yeah.
Hmm.
everything to do with these brands. If they have a source for filmmaking in Arkansas, you, that's probably a big part of the film work there, in addition to the creative and narrative work. And
Yeah,
it's,
Hmm.
absolutely.
I know you have this Second Street studio that you both are running in collaboration with Onyx Coffee, which I went there Onyx Coffee Lab. I went there when I was in town. The design's amazing. I just went there because it was cute. But tell me more about what they do and how they relate to Second Street Studios, since that's the work you're doing day in and day out.
So we have like a couple of really good things here. Like one, yes, Arkansas is in the film game. And I think it's really beautiful, honestly, just getting to challenge people's like conceptions of what the state is, like
There are conceptions. There's definitely conceptions.
and they are misconceptions mostly. Uh for sure. But it's a beautiful state just as a starter. We have so many great locations here organically that are just really well suited for a lot of different kinds of productions. Even just having like space and land.
Hmm.
Well,
Um,
people talk about the bike trails there. That has made it out of there. Like everyone talks Walmart, Bentonville, like Crystal Bridges,
Hmm.
yeah.
Momentary, and the bike trails. That's what we hear outside
And
of.
so that's really interesting too, because Walmart, there's a few different pieces of the family, but essentially they want to invest in whatever they like to do. And we really get to reap the benefits of that. And so like I know you can talk about Thaden and a couple
Hmm.
of
Yeah, I mean, like, just quick little piece about Bentonville is like, I was getting my pilot's license a while back, and Walmart owns a airfield in the middle of Bentonville that has one of the world like the best flying programs
yeah.
that you can join, and one of the cheapest.
They've like made it free for women to get their pilot's
Yeah,
license, and that's
a
where
Really?
lot
all
of
of the celebrities like fly into and they come here.
Uh-huh.
Um, we got engaged there, like it's beautiful. So-
yeah, yeah, lots of great opportunities through that.
and then mountain biking.
Mountain biking, yeah, they
Yeah.
build tons of trails. I mean, literally every day there's a new bike trail popping up. You can ride all the way from Bentonville to Fayetteville on a bike trail. I've done a bike race
Like a
from
square to square kind of thing, yeah.
Bentonville to Fayetteville once, and it's a beautiful bike.
You don't even have
bike
to have a
path.
car here if you don't want
Yeah.
to.
Sometimes I feel like an imposter living here because everyone talks about the biking here, but we don't actually bike
We
a
do
lot.
like street biking, not
Yeah, I
mountain
mean,
biking.
in a
Yeah.
little bit. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's a lot of great opportunities just
For
through
sure.
that development. And
Yeah, and then like you said, the vendors too, like Walmart is big on having like vendor representation here. And so we see that just like I worked on an Equate commercial for like the wipes that they have, and we worked on like a New York bakery commercial, like the Texas toast that most people
Mhm.
probably buy. So those things are like very heavily fed in from Walmart that I mean has been a part of our livelihood. So
Yeah.
we're super grateful for that. And then Onyx is a huge part of our heart. Before we got incorporated with them in business, like Onyx is just where you go when you live here. Like you hang out there, you drink coffee there, and they just so happen to be kind of the best coffee in the world, just saying. Like literally, they've
Oh, it's
won like
great.
all the competitions for
Yeah.
it. Yeah. And they're so unique. They're always just striving for excellence. And so
Yeah.
their kind of mission is like never settle for good enough. And we really loved that and felt connected to it. And we would go co-work there, and then just kind of in proximity with their creatives. We became known, and they were like, oh, you should shoot like a roastery ad for us, or like we'd love to have you shoot something. And we were like, okay, yeah, like all in, dream client. And so we've done a couple of different ads for them, one in collaboration with Bearded Goat, which is a big mountain biking outdoor wear kind of company. And so we loved that, and they decided to open up conversation with us for more. They were looking for a place to house their creative team that's making like the everyday social media content, and also wanting to bring on other outside contractors like ourselves to shoot some high quality like long form content. And so in that, we were like, well, maybe like a studio.
Yeah, I mean, one of the big things about Onyx that stands out from other coffee shops, and something that I hear a lot when we tell them that we run a studio for a coffee shop, is
like,
that
how does that work?
like how, yeah, like why would that be a good business decision for a coffee shop? And of course, the studio is open to the public for other things, like it's not just for Onyx, but that's a big question mark to a lot of people, that a coffee shop would spend so much money on their creative department.
But they're so creative. The owners, like, they are just here all the time. And
yeah, I mean,
it's beautiful.
There's more kitchens over there and over here that you don't see, but they're all designed, like this one was designed by the owner of Onyx, John Allen, and so was that one and that one over there. And he has him and his wife Andrea just have a very creative and just amazing minds.
I could tell by the coffee shop. Like, I mean, I'm drawn to places like that. Yeah.
So partnering with people who, they might not have a creative vision for film, but they have a creative vision overall
of like what they want to achieve. And so then they bring on people like us that know kind of some of those in between steps. And as they were developing like this studio concept, you were like, okay, well, if you invest in like these lights or in like these kinds of stands, tripods, LED wall, stuff like that, like those are your levels up. Here's what that opens up with those investments. And they saw the price tag on that, and it's like, okay, that's a lot. We're interested, but that's a lot. And so then kind of the conversation opened up, well, if you open this up to external clients, that's not only a way to like see revenue on rentals, but also to invest in this community that we all love, that we all want to see grow and thrive. So it's been really beautiful watching their heart for that, of wanting to elevate Onyx content, and then also just bring really great resources to Arkansas and to serve the needs that maybe other studios don't have an emphasis in, or missing pieces in our community that we can have as offerings.
Yeah, I mean, we had a documentary screening here a few weeks ago for a coffee company out of Salt Lake City who made a documentary and
about like coffee farming. It was really,
he flew in, and we got to have the screening here. And honestly, like, bigger than any money that we could earn from the space is the just the community aspect of it. Like, we care so much about Bentonville film, Arkansas film, and we just want to, like, this space was the biggest part for us for that. I mean, we're planning on hosting free classes for people who want to learn more about film. And
great.
And we love teaching, like, we're passionate about this.
If I say that, if I could, like, if I didn't need to be paid for stuff and like
pay bills,
make a living, make bills, like, I would do this for free, because it's just so much my heart to like grow this film community.
For sure.
A big conversation around Arkansas film is like, where it's really great and we have a lot of talented people in Arkansas, but a lot of times when really big productions come through, like really big movies, they'll be like, yeah, this is great, but we're gonna have to fly like 50 more crew in from somewhere else because you don't have that crew here. So more than like in some other places, film industries, you kind of see like the closed off, like kind of the old people who don't really want you in the film industry with them
kind of thing,
or teach anyone how to join it. But like here, I see it as such an important thing, because the more people we get here, the more productions are going to want to come here and shoot,
and that they level up. You might have one really great gaffer, but you need a bunch of really great grips to work for him in order for this to really like see fruition.
And I feel like we're already seeing that grow. And
absolutely,
there's a lot of companies here investing in programs like that. I mean, just the other week, one of my favorite grip and electric companies here, Film Gear Rentals, is hosting classes right now, actually, for students of how to light and use professional equipment
Yeah,
that
like
would
wearing
not
a
be found at a
Chapman
high school.
dolly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just that's a huge part of our hearts for this space.
And like, how are there good film incentives from the state?
So that's been a challenge for
Yeah.
us. We have a lot better than some of the maybe like traditionally thought of film states. But it's definitely been kind of a tension for Arkansas of just wanting, I think, more support with the film commission, to have better tax incentives and to have just, better reasons for people to come here. And they still
Mm-hmm.
do. But I know that there's a lot of room for that. And all the studios here and everyone who works in film like feels that and pushes into
Mm-hmm.
that. So really hopeful that we can see change in that in the next couple of years. And I think that that's
Yeah.
going to be like the real breakthrough for
And
us.
Mm-hmm.
and there has been some good pushes, like
Yeah.
some of our incentives were like you have to have so many Arkansas crew on your film. You can't
Right.
fly in everyone from out of town.
Right.
There's been some grants.
Because
and
sometimes that
things.
happens, but I think those are some great steps, being like
Yeah.
hire some local people,
Mhm.
use local resources.
Mm-hmm.
We will
and then-
screen it at
yeah,
festivals
exactly,
in
like
Arkansas, things like that.
things like that.
Yeah.
And that helps build up the film industry here a lot. And we have like I think we had 3 or 4 movies here last year. One of them was a really big movie with what was the airport one?
Meg Ryan.
Meg Ryan came and
Mhm.
shot a big movie.
Yeah. And then we've had
I've worked with
Yeah.
John Malkovich on a couple movies and some kind of bigger projects like that. And so there's definitely film here, but I think there's the sky's the limit for how much we can bring here. I mean, we have a decent sized state and we have a lot of different locations here,
a
like
lot
the
of unique
Buffalo and
offerings for sure.
yeah.
Yeah, like when people choose to film in Arkansas, like big productions, like are they actually in Arkansas in the film, or are they pretending it's somewhere else? Like, why do they choose Arkansas? If the film incentives, yeah, if the film incentives aren't like Atlanta, or
Yeah, I think
Mhm.
for the Meg Ryan one, like that one was shot almost entirely in our airport in Rogers or in,
And
sorry,
Crystal Bridges Art Museum.
yeah.
Yeah. So they just wanted some like unique architecture with that
Yeah.
one and the kind of feeling of like middle of nowhere.
okay,
So
okay.
that was neat. Some of them really utilize like some of our like kind of statement Arkansas things, and that's always beautiful to me,
Yeah.
seeing them elevate Arkansas and not make it, seem dingy and dirty.
Yeah. We had a
Yeah.
movie probably 10 or so years ago with Matthew McConaughey here, and it
Yeah.
was based in Arkansas in the movie.
Mud.
Yeah.
And True Detective was filmed
True
here
Detective
too.
was
and
had
they
another
really
season here.
utilized.
And a lot of
Yeah.
people worked on that. Well, I think we were still in high school at that time,
Yeah.
but I had a friend who just got out of high school and went to work on it, and I was like, I wish I was out of high school so I
Yeah.
could do this. But yeah, a lot of really cool movies and names come to Arkansas, and
then there's a lot of like faith-based films here too, and I think those are probably the ones that lean more into just what this area is and the population that's here.
I did camera operating on a movie a year ago now. I was the B camera operator, and it was based around a country music star, and it was based in Arkansas in the movie, which was cool. But also like they did lean into some of the stereotypes
Yeah.
of like the trailer home and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But
Yeah, how
really
do you
cool
feel, how do
movie,
you feel
just-
about that?
I mean, for parts of Arkansas, like that's reality, like Harrison and some of the outskirts there, like that is true. I think it's the same thing with any stereotype though, that even if there's like a piece of truth in this, is this like what you want to represent this community or these people, and there's like so many other great things about them in those places that you could elevate. So I think that's just where I'm at, that it's like, if you want to play this, okay, but I would love to see redemption in that. I would love to see that we're not all like that, or you can rise above, things like that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, one of the movies that came out or that was shot here 5 years ago, I think it was called Freddy. It's about a little robot, but they went away from the typical Arkansas narrative and
played into Bentonville technology a lot.
Yeah, they shot
Yeah,
at
it was
Crystal
cool.
Bridges, and it was this big
Showed our complete downtown, you know, and really like elevated that. So it's been cool. And for any
things
of
like that
our
are cool to see.
for any of our like passion projects too, we always try to represent Arkansas and our community in the best light.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, anyone who knows like the art scene knows that Bentonville is, in Northwest Arkansas is like a cosmopolitan art scene. Like, you know, so I work in the arts a lot, and like anyone in the major art cities knows like the momentary and Crystal Bridges at least, and that it's kind of like a cosmopolitan city, you know, in a college town, you know, like yeah.
Yeah. And we have a lot of tourists here, and we've gotten to work on a lot of Arkansas tourism shoots. And so that has been, I think, one of our favorites, just of like, we love this area. We want to show other people all the great things that are here.
Yeah.
I mean, just working on Arkansas tourism, Arkansas wants to show itself like what it really is. I mean,
they just rebrand, you know?
More than, I mean, people, even if you do hear good things about Arkansas, it's NWA usually, or Little Rock has a lot of great things in it. But Arkansas tourism has really leaned into like, here are some of the unknown places that
like it's not just this pocket.
Have some really cool waterfalls and stuff like that. And those commercials were always fun to work on because we're hiking through parts in Arkansas that we've never seen before.
There's a lot of content.
Yeah.
Even like we made a craft beer documentary because there's so many cool breweries here, and just hearing the stories of
I don't think anybody thinks about that really.
Seriously.
We have so many breweries
and so many cool people. Like, how did you get here? Like, what's your interest, and why is this beer I'm drinking so damn good, you know?
So you did a documentary, like a feature length?
So it's a short doc. We got into it, and we love our short doc. But as we started diving in, we just had no scope of how big this really was. And so our plan is to extend it to a feature and go to some of these breweries that we didn't have history on, of how they have pioneered some of the craft brewing in Arkansas, or what their involvement has been and their impact. And this crew guy, you know.
Yes. And further from that too, where I'm writing a project right now, that would be another docu-series style thing based around NWA, but or Arkansas in general, but hopefully making it into something that extends to other cities, kind of like NWA, where like Dallas is growing quickly, and New Mexico and stuff. A series kind of about the arts and food and beer, and
we have Michelin star chefs here that you know, it's like, why on earth are you here? Like, we're so thankful, but
people come for Crystal Bridges, and then they're like, what is this restaurant that has like $100 plate food, like Michelin star food? It's really great.
Yeah, and you have that the art hotel, the 21C, right? I stayed there. That's amazing. Like, where can we watch Crafted anywhere?
Not the short form yet.
Okay.
I think we're gonna shoot the long form towards the end of this year, once things settle down with professional work life, because I mean, that project is we're putting our own money towards, we're saving money for that, and then hiring the crew with our own money.
Do you apply for grants, or you are always self-funded, or you fund it with your other projects?
We have some grants here that I've thought about applying for. Typically we end up just self-funding projects that we want to shoot. We
crowdfunding.
We did crowdfund a short film that Kaylee directed, and we wrote.
And was really pleasantly surprised by that. That had like a budget of like $5,000. It was kind of like a thesis, you know.
Which one was that?
It's called Echo. It was my like senior thesis film. Ended up raising near like $7,000 for that. And so I think like people want to invest, you know, in the young filmmakers here. They want to invest in the arts. Like, if they see someone who's driven, who has a good idea, and then has good plans behind that they are willing to invest in that, and they want to see it happen. So
we're starting to run out of time, but like, I want to know how we can follow you, watch your work. You said something was on Amazon Prime. Max Winslow, that's a project. So what is available to watch right now? I know a lot of the work you do is for organizations also, so probably can't watch those, but
Yeah, so that's definitely the challenge, that like we do work for a lot of companies, that it's not just like we get to share these clips, but we have work on Walmart.com that I directed and Richard was a cinematographer of. The Texas Toast commercial runs on Hulu, and you can find that on YouTube. You can watch a couple of the movies that Richard's worked on PureFlix.
Yeah, did some for Amazon Prime. I'm trying to think. There's one called The Chariot that I worked on Amazon Prime. These are all kind of, we worked small roles in, but it's fun to see them. I did where I'm kind of specializing in right now is I've done a lot of live production. I just finished a tour with Christian music artist Brandon Lake. I was a camera operator on that, and then I did a JCPenney live special with the Backstreet Boys, which was one of the cool ones that I got to do.
Cool.
Yeah, that was fun. And I've done a lot of music tours, and those are all live streamed, or you can find them on our Instagrams.
And we just love live streaming. Like, it's so much fun, even with Walmart events. And we run broadcasts for our church, and we are always trying to elevate that. And just anything that people would maybe just set up an iPhone for, that it's like, oh no, this can be high level production. So
yeah, but as far as where you can see it, like, probably our Instagrams are the best spot.
Yeah,
we post our projects on there. And then
okay, what are those real quick?
Yeah, so mine is the Kaylee Williamson,
and then mine is What the Richard. And everyone calls me by that when they meet me. They're like, oh, you're What the Richard. And I'm like, I'm Richard, but yeah.
That's fun. So we'd love to connect with anyone there for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
cool.
the studio is the Second Street Studio on Instagram. And
you can see some Onyx work there.
Yeah, we love when people reach out, and like, we'll give anyone a tour anytime.
For sure.
And so people can rent the studio. They can it's your studio where you do your work, and then people can rent it. And
for sure.
Yeah, and then you're creating this more community where you're gonna have like classes, and you have film screening, so it's like a community creative space, which
for sure.
We did a little giveaway for our opening, and we're going to do some more giveaways,
like some studio credit,
and we hopefully want to give away cameras to filmmakers at some point, and stuff like that. Just where, again, growing the film community here is our biggest priority with the
wherever
studio.
you're watching from, come shoot in Arkansas.
Yeah.
Come meet us. We'll take care of you.
And we invite you to come, submit films to our film festival, Santa Fe International Film Festival. Have you been to film festivals? I'm sure you have.
So actually, tomorrow we have Bentonville Film Festival in Bentonville.
Okay. Oh, okay.
And that's put on by Gina Davis.
And we both like worked that together, like interviewing her, working as her DP, stuff like that.
Yeah, she sponsors that.
What's her tie to the community?
So she Bentonville Film Festival is just kind of her baby. She loves coming here and hosting that.
She really wants to champion women and the LGBT community.
Bentonville Film Festival is very much more geared towards women in film, which I love and Kaylee loves. And
we have great other film festivals here too, like the Fayetteville Film Festival, Made in Arkansas, Rogers Short, a lot of kind of unique ones, but this one's really special because it does champion diversity in our state.
And it's a big deal kind of to outside people. A lot of people come in for Bentonville Film Festival. I'm actually tomorrow interviewing Gina Davis, or shooting interviews with her and following her around for the day. So that's funny that we're talking about film festivals, because
I don't know why she chose Bentonville, but we're glad she did.
Yeah. So we can probably catch that on the Bentonville Film Festival site or Instagram.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's a documentary that they're shooting or something.
Okay.
I'm not sure what that's connected with, but
okay.
But yes, we would love to check out your festival too.
Once Crafted comes out, we're planning on going on the road with it.
Okay, great. Anything else? We know how to find you. We know what to watch. We know what you're up to. Any advice? I mean, I think if I was I'm gonna speak for you, I think you guys are such a great example of finding a way to work in what you love and doing it through many different avenues and taking advantage of opportunities in your community and is even as young as high school, and some places don't have the opportunities,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
So what do people do? And I don't know about that, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to give some advice specifically
yeah.
to like people younger than us getting into film, or people who are older than us that are getting into film. This is
Mhm.
what I always tell people, that I think the place that we have been burned, but also the place that we have found a lot of career success is just like, I tell people, never work for free. Um, when we were starting out, in high school, it's just so much of that, like, oh, it's exposure, oh, like this is the networking opportunity. You
I
gotta
tell
earn your
people the
stripes.
opposite.
Really? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's a fun conversation.
Yeah, it is a fun
Um,
conversation.
yeah, I think for me, we just saw, being in this new community, people coming from other states
Uh-huh.
taking advantage.
Yeah.
And that's really hurtful to our community.
Mhm.
And I found that I was being hired on to bigger and better projects when I charged my real day rate, rather than just,
Mhm.
like, oh, let me give them a good deal because I want this. And so I tell people, even if you can't get that like high day rate that you want, that you will get on
Someone
some
can pay
bigger
you.
projects,
Someone can
like,
pay you $50 or
yeah,
like
they can cover your
Mhm.
gas. Yeah.
gas, like,
Mhm.
they can extend something.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Not necessarily working like asking. I mean, because there's something to be said about like, don't charge $1,000 if you're just starting out.
yeah, and if you
And
don't have the skills of
Right.
$1,000,
Well, and you got to
Um,
look who the client is, like who's asking you to do it. Do they have the money and they're just trying to screw me? Or do they not have the money and this is a passion project and and who do I get to work with? Like maybe this is an if you can see like some other ways you can, get something out of it and like it's fulfilling and you meet someone.
and I think there's some things of like, I mean, students in college have to have some work experience and
yeah.
stuff like
Mhm.
that. And
Or we'll do
um,
like some bartering, with people for like,
yeah.
we'll come work on this if you'll come work on that for us, and
Mhm.
just knowing that just something that's like mutually beneficial. And
Mutually
Yeah, a lot
beneficial.
of
Yeah, where there's
yeah,
like a exchange of respect. Because like I definitely don't work for free if you're not being respected. Like a trade, there's ways to trade, there's ways, maybe they pay you $10 so you can say you were paid so you can get the next job or something.
yeah.
a lot of
Yeah.
times it's like a giant company is hiring you to be a production assistant, and they definitely have the money.
Hmm.
You're not going to get any exposure from being a production assistant on a
Mhm.
commercial. And like you you made you were made to sign an NDA, so you can't even post about it. So like, why are you working on something that you're not getting
Yeah,
exposure for, you're not getting paid for? I
right.
think there's moments in time where like with Crafted, we didn't pay ourselves for that, but it's like
Hmm.
we're doing that because
We
we
know
want
the
to
reach
shoot
of it.
we want
Yeah.
to shoot
Mhm.
content like that, so we're
Hmm.
making a documentary that is themed around that, so
Yeah.
stuff like that.
So that's just been kind of our experience.
Case by case basis, I think,
Hmm.
too,
And
sometimes.
yeah, I think like with me the most important thing is definitely networking. um
Yeah.
the
Don't
way that
burn
I
your bridges.
got into film is by messaging friends on Instagram. um
Yeah.
Zach from Farm Studios that I was talking about earlier, I messaged him on Instagram once and was like, hey, do you need to let me know if you need some help on a film set ever? And
Mhm.
my first project with him was this giant Sam's Club commercial that was like a $250,000 commercial.
Hmm.
um and that was my first ever experience from a Instagram message.
Mhm.
I think it's so important to reach out to people,
For sure.
because I literally told a friend the other day he wanted to shoot, like he loves the musician John Foreman from Switchfoot, and I was like, just message him on Instagram
Like,
and
shoot a shot,
yeah, shoot a
like,
shot.
Mhm.
And
just like,
he just got back from San Diego shooting a concert for him,
yeah.
just coming from an Instagram
Cool.
message. Like,
Wow. Yeah.
And then
You
taking
never
care of
know.
those relationships too, like when people take the chance on you and hire you on to this project that they need to go right, then it's like, okay, we're gonna hire them on our next project. And even if something goes wrong, like, we're not gonna burn that bridge. We're not gonna talk smack, like that kind
Mhm.
of thing, because
mhm,
we're a community.
mhm,
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Cool. Thank you guys so much for your time. And I've learned
thank
so
you.
much about you, even though I know you.
well, it's been so fun for us too, and we should chat more even
Yeah,
outside of
we
this.
we definitely should. Yeah. Okay. Well, stay on. We're going to stop recording. And
Yeah.
thanks, everyone. This is your guest host, Castle Searcy with the Santa Fe International Film Festival, here with Kaylee and Richard Williamson from Second Street Studios in Bentonville, Arkansas. Thanks for joining us.